Welcome to Wicked Shizuku's Reviews, bringing you a southern perspective on books, movies, music, and much, much more. Stick around for a while, you just might hear something wicked. Well, hello again, and welcome back to Wicked Shizuku's Reviews, where I read to you. And this is episode 83, and I will be continuing on with the Norton Anthology of English Literature, the Middle Ages. And today's lesson will be about Thomas of England. First, we start out with Tristran and Ysolt. The story of Tristan, also known as Tristan, or Tristran, and Ysolt remains ever fresh in the Western tradition for readaptation from Wagner's opera 1857-59 to the 2006 movie. Two lovers, the brilliant and gifted Tristan and Ysolt, are made for each other. The intensity of their mutual love is both expressed and sealed by the love potion they mistakenly drink as they travel by sea from Ireland to Cornwall, where Ysolt, bound by the inescapable needs of feudal power, is to marry King Mark of Cornwall, Tristan's uncle. This tragic story of love and its consequences was a runaway success in Europe from the mid-12th century forward. Two 12th century Anglo-Norman versions by Thomas of England below, and Virgil circa 1160 survive, but the fame of Tristan and Ysolt was much more widely dispersed, as attested by other, shorter texts, such as The Madness of Tristan below and Chivalry, written by Marie de France, references in many other texts and visual artifacts. Thomas of England. The tragic love story of Tristan and Ysolt, the wife of Tristan's maternal uncle, King Mark, derives mainly from Breton, Welsh, and Irish sources, although it incorporates motifs of Eastern tales that were probably transmitted to Europe from India via Arabic Spain. The romance of Tristan and Ysolt entered the mainstream of Western European literature through the Old French version in octosyllabic couplets by a 12th century author who identifies himself only as Thomas, and of whom practically nothing else is known for certain. Only 3,143 lines, roughly a sixth of the poem, survives in 9 separate fragments, but we can reconstruct the story from the Tristram's Saga, 1226, a relatively faithful translation into Old Norse, and the Middle High German adaptation Tristan and Ysolt, also early 13th century, by Gottfried von Strasberg, who names the author of his major source, Thomas of Britain. Thomas's Tristran is written in a dialect of Western France containing Anglo-Norman forms. He is likely to have composed the romance for the court of Henry II. Borrowings from Wace's Brut prove that he wrote after 1155, probably sometime before 1170. As Thomas himself tells his audience, "My lords, this tale is told in many ways. Comparisons with other early versions in French and German, suggests that he was following a lost text from which he eliminated episodes he considered improbable or coarse, and to which he added new courtly and psychological dimensions. Thomas's work proved enormously influential, not only by the way of Gottfried's important poem, the source of Richard Wagner's opera Tristan and Ysolt, but it may have well provided the inspiration and model for the love affair of Lancelot and Guinevere. That relationship first appears already in progress in the Creation de Troyes, the Romance, the Knight of the Cart. See King Arthur in the NAEL archive. That's the Norton Anthology English Literature Archive. The Romance of Tristan was drawn into orbit of Arthurian romance, where Sir Tristran, the only knight who can match Sir Lancelot, after fighting a 5-hour duel to a draw, they became fast friends. Tristan is thus a champion in war and tournaments, but in Thomas and in other Tristan romances, he has other attributes as well. He is a master of the hunt, chess, and several languages. He is a gifted harp player, and he and Ysolt make an expert team in the art of deceiving a jealous husband. Tristran starts life as an orphan. His own story is preceded by the romance of his parents, Ribelin and Blanchefleur, the sister of King Mark. Ribelin is killed in a battle before Tristan's birth. Blanchefleur dies in childbirth. Tristan is fostered by his father's steward until he is kidnapped by merchants who lure the handsome youth aboard their ship to play chess and then set sail. A storm they blame on the kidnapping caused them to strand the youth on a deserted coast of his uncle's kingdom. Tristan's gifts and charm lead Mark to adopt him as a trusted servant, who is identified as his nephew when Tristan's foster father arrives in the court in search of him. Mark contracts to marry the King of Ireland's daughter, Ysolt, and sends Tristan to escort the bride to England. On the return voyage, Tristan and Ysolt become lovers after they unwittingly drink a love potion her mother had prepared for Ysolt and Mark. On Ysolt's wedding night, her maid Bringevane takes her place in the marriage bed. Tristan and Ysolt scheme repeatedly to meet secretly and devise ways to allay Mark's suspicions and frustrate his attempts to surprise them. Finally, however, Tristan is exiled from Britain for good and pursues wars on the continent. Eventually, fearing that Ysolt no longer loves him and hoping that he will get over his love for her, he marries a second Ysolt, Ysolt of the White Hands, the sister of Tristan's young friend and admirer, Callan. Tristan, however, cannot bring himself to consummate the marriage, and the second Ysolt remains an unwilling virgin. When Tristan is wounded by a poisoned spear, Callan sets sail for England to fetch the first Ysolt, who alone has it in her power to save Tristan's life. Medieval people believed that given names sometimes foreshadowed one's destiny, and the French authors of Tristan's story interpreted Trist, the Celtic root name, as the French Trist, sad. The sense of a tragic, illicit love whose passion finds an ultimate fulfillment in the death haunts the story of Tristan and Ysolt. In Thomas and in the different versions that derive from it, the geography of the Tristan romances varies from version to version. Tristan's homeland, Lyonesse, may originally have been Lothian in Scotland. In Marie de France's Chifferoil, it is in Wales. In Thomas, it is Brittany. And the voyages across the English Channel and Irish Sea are episodes in which the sea itself plays a pivotal and symbolic role. The names Tristan and Ysolt vary according to the language of different versions. They are adopted here from the translation by A.T. Hatto, 1960. And I will be right back as I have to let Kitty in. If you can donate, please feel free to do so. But if you already have, don't feel any pressure. Be right back. Okay, so sorry for the interruption, everyone. But you know how cats are. They want their way right then, right there. And I had to save Lumpy Panda from uh falling off of the door seal. He likes to climb halfway up. And Bouncy Bounty is wanting to give a little cameo here, so let's show her real quick if she will. No, no, the camera's not angled that way today. Sorry, you can't see Bouncy Bounty, but she's over here over my shoulder. Yeah, there she is, if you could see her. So let's go ahead and continue with Tristan and Ysolt. And this one is from Le Roman de Tristan. The death of Tristan and Ysolt. When Ysolt hears this message, there is anguish in her heart, and pain, and sorrow, and grief. Never yet has she known greater. Now she ponders deeply, and sighs, and longs for Tristan, her lover. But she does not know how to come to him. She goes to speak with Bringaven. She tells her the whole story of the poisoned wound, the pain he is in, and the misery, and how he lies there languishing. How, and through whom, he has sent for her, else his wound will never be healed. She has described all his torment, and then asks advice what to do. And as they talk, there begins a sighing, complaining, and weeping, and pain, and sorrow, sadness, and grief, for the pity which they have on his account. Nevertheless, they have discussed the matter, and finally decide to set out on their journey, and go away with Cardine to treat Tristan's illness, and succor him in his need. They make ready towards evening, and take what they will require. As soon as the others are all asleep, they leave very stealthily, under cover of night, by a lucky postern in the wall overlooking the Thames. The water has come up to it with the rising tide. The boat is all ready, and the Queen has gone aboard it. They row, They sail with the ebb. Quickly they fly before the wind. They make a mighty effort and keep on rowing till they are alongside the big ship. They hoist the yard, and then they sail. They run before the waves as long as they have wind behind them. They coast along the foreign land past the port of Wisnat, and then Bologna, enter port. The wind is strong and favorable, and the ship that bears them is fleet. They sail past Normandy. They sail happily and joyfully, since they have the wind they want. Tristran lies on his bed, languishing of his wound. He can find no succor in anything. Medicine cannot avail him. Nothing that he does affords him any aid. He longs for the coming of Ysolt, desiring nothing else. Without her, he can have no ease. It is because of her that he lived so long. There, in his bed, he pines and he waits for her. He has high hopes that she will come and heal his malady, and believes that he will not live without her. Each day he sends to the shore to see if the ship is returning, with no other wish in his heart. And many in the time that he commands his bed to be made beside the sea, and has himself carried out to it, to await and see the ship. What way is she making, and with what sail? He has no desire for anything except for the coming of Ysolt. His whole mind, will, and desire are set on it. Whatever the world holds, he rates of no account unless the queen is coming to him. Then he has himself carried back again from the fear which he anticipates, for he dreads that she may not come, may not keep her faith with him, and he would much rather hear it from another than see the ship come without her. He longs to look out for the ship, but does not wish to know it, should she fail to come. There is anguish in his heart, and he is full of desire to see her. He often laments to his wife, but does not tell her what he longs for, apart from Cardine, who does not come. Seeing him delay so long, Tristran greatly fears that Cardine has failed in his mission. Now listen to a pitiful disaster, and a most sad mishap, which must touch the hearts of all lovers. You never heard tell of a greater sorrow arising from such love and such desire. Just there, were Tristran waiting, and the lady is eager to arrive, and has drawn close enough to see the land. Gay they are on board, and they sail light-heartedly. A wind springs up from the south and strikes them full in the middle of the yard, checking the whole ship in its course. The crew run to luff and turn the sail, and they turn about whether they wish to or not. The wind gains in force and raises the swell. The deep begins to stir. The weather grows foul and the air thick. The waves rise. The sea grows black. It rains and sleets. As the storm increases, bowlines and shrouds snap. They lower the yard and drift along with the wind and waves. They had put out their boat on sea, since they were close to their own country, but by ill luck they forgot it, and a wave has smashed it to pieces. This, at least, they have now lost, and the tempest has grown so in violence, and that the best of sailors could never have kept his feet. All on board weep and lament and give vent to great grief, so afraid are they. Alas, poor me, cried Ysolt. God does not wish me to live until I see my lover Tristran. He wants me to be drowned in the sea. Tristran, if only I had spoken with you, I would not mind if I had then died. Dear love, when you hear that I am dead, I know you will never again be consoled. You will be so afflicted by my death, following your long-drawn suffering, that you will never be well again. My coming does not rest with me. God willing, I would come and take charge of your wound, for I have no other sorrow than that you are without aid, and this is my sorrow and my grief, and I am very sad at heart, my friend, that you will not have no support against death when I die. My own death matters nothing to me. If God wills it, so be it. But then, at last, you learn of it, my love. I know that you will die of it. Such is our love. I can feel no grief, unless you are in it. You cannot die without me, nor can I perish without you. If I am to be shipwrecked at sea, then you too must drown. But you cannot drown on dry land, so you have come to sea to seek me. I see your death before my eyes, and I know that I am soon to die. Dear friend, I fail in my desire, since I hoped to die in your arms, and to be buried in one coffin with you. But now we have failed to achieve it. Yet it may still happen so, for if I am to drown here, and you, as I think, must also drown, a fish could swallow us, and so, my love, my good fortune, we should share one sepulchre, since it might be caught by someone who would recognize our bodies and do them the high honor befitting our love. But what I am saying cannot be. Yet, if God wills it, it must be. But what would you do? But what would you be seeking on the sea? I do not know what you could be doing here. Nevertheless, I am here, and here I shall die. I shall drown here, Tristran, without you. Yet it is a sweet comfort to me, my darling, that you will not know of my death. From henceforward, it will never be known, and I do not know who should tell it. You will live long after me, and await my coming. If it please God, you may be healed. That is what I most desire. I long for your recovery more than I should come ashore. So truly do I love you, dear friend, that I must fear after my death, if you recover, lest you forget me during your lifetime, or console yourself with another woman. Tristran, when I am dead. My love, I am indeed much afraid of Ysolt of the White Hands, at least. I do not know whether I ought to fear her, but if you were to die before me, I would not long survive you. I do not know at all what to do, but you I do desire above all things. God grant we come together, so that I may heal you, love, or that we too may die of one anguish. As long as the storm endures, Ysolt gives vent to her sorrow and grief. The storm and foul weather last on the sea for 5 days and more. Then the wind drops, and it is fair. They have hoisted the white sail, and are making good speed, when carrying espies the coast of Brittany. At this they are gay and light-hearted. They raise the sail right up, so that it can be seen what sail it is, the white or the black. Carradine wished to show its color from afar, since it was the last day of the term that Lord Tristran had assigned when they had set out for England. While they are happily sailing, there is a spell of warm weather, and the wind drops so that they can make no headway. The sea is very smooth and still. The ship moves neither one way nor the other, save so far as the swell draws it. They are also without their boat, and now they are in great distress. They see the land close ahead of them, but have no wind with which to reach it. And so up and down they go drifting, now back, now forward. They cannot make any progress, and are very badly impeded. Ysolt is much afflicted by it. She sees the land she has longed for, and yet she cannot reach it. She all but dies of her longing. Those in the ship long for land, but the wind is too light for them. Time and again Ysolt laments her fate. Those on the shore long for the ship, but they have not seen it yet. Thus Tristran is wretched and sorrowful, and he often laments and sighs for Ysolt. whom he so much desires. The tears flow from his eyes. He writhes about. He all but dies of longing. While Tristran endures such affliction, his wife Ysolt comes and stands before him. Meditating great guile, she says, Cerdine is coming, my love. I have seen his ship on the sea. I saw it making hardly any headway, but nevertheless I could see it well enough to know that it is his. God grant it brings news that will comfort you at heart. Tristran starts up at this news. Do you know for sure that it is his ship, my darling? He asks. Tell me now, what sort of sail is it? I know it for a fact, answered Ysolt. Let me tell you, the sail is all black. They have hoisted it and raised it up high because they have no wind. At this, Tristran feels such pain that he has never had greater, nor ever will, and he turns his face to the wall and says, God save Ysolt and me. Since you will not come to me, I must die for your love. I can hold on to life no longer. I die for you. Ysolt, dear love, you have no pity for my sufferings, but you will have sorrow of my death. It is great solace to me that you will have pity for my death. 3 times did he say, Dearest Ysolt. At the 4th he rendered up his spirit. Thereupon, throughout the house, the knights and the companions weep. Their cries are loud, their lament is great. Knights and sergeants rise to their feet and bear him from his bed, then lay him upon a cloth of samite, and cover him with a striped pall. And now the wind has risen up on the sea. It strikes the middle of the sail yard, and brings the ship to land. Ysolt has quickly disembarked. She hears the great laments in the street, and the bells from the minsters and chapels. She asks the people what news, and why they toll the bells so, and the reason for their weeping. Then an old man answers, My lady, as God help me, we have greater sorrow than people ever had before. Gallant, noble Tristran, who was a source of strength to the whole realm, is dead. He was generous to the needy, great succor to the wretched. He has died just now in his bed of a wound that his body received. Never did so a great misfortune befall this realm. As soon as Ysolt heard this news, she was struck dumb with grief. So afflicted is she that she goes up the street to the palace in advance of the others, without her cloak. The Bretons have never seen a woman of her beauty. In the city they wonder whence she comes, and who she may be. Ysolt goes to where she sees his body lying, and turns towards the east. She prays for him piteously. Tristran, my love, now I see you dead. It is against reason for me to live longer. You died for my love, and I, love, die for grief, for I could not come in time to heal you and your wound. My love, nothing shall ever console me for your death, neither joy nor pleasure, nor any delight. May this storm be accursed that so delayed me on the sea, my sweetheart, so that I could not come. Had I arrived in time, I would have given you back your life and spoken gently to you of the love there was between us. I should have bewailed our fate, our joy, our rapture, and the great sorrow and pain that have been in our loving. I should have reminded you of this, and kissed you and embraced you. If I had failed to cure you, then we could have died together. But since I could not come in time, and did not hear what happened, and have come and found you dead, I shall console myself by drinking of the same cup. You have forfeited your life on my account, and I shall do as a true lover. I will die for you in return. She takes him in her arms then, lying at full length. She kisses his face and lips and clasps him tightly to her. Then straining body to body, mouth to mouth, she once again renders up her spirit and of sorrow for her lover, and dies thus. at his side. Tristan died of his longing, Ysolt because she could not come in time. Tristan died for his love, fair Ysolt because of tender pity. Here Thomas ends his book. Now he takes leave of all lovers, the sad and amorous, the jealous and the desirous, the gay and the distraught, and all who will hear these lines. If I have not pleased thee with my tale, I have told it the best of my power, and have narrated the whole truth, as promised at the beginning. Here I have recounted the story in rhyme, and have done this to hold up an example, and to make this story more beautiful, so that it may please lovers, and that here and there they may find some things to take to heart. May they derive great comfort from it in the face of fickleness and injury, in the face of hardship and grief, in the face of all wiles of love. And that concludes the readings of the Roman de Tristran. And next time we shall continue in this read with the madness of Tristan. So, if you enjoyed this, if you found it educational, entertaining, or inspiring, would you please give me a like, subscribe, and share? And any donations that come forward, thank you. I appreciate it. And have a good night. Good night, everyone.